Top Sounds with Kevin Winter.
Number 4.
Chris, let's begin at Citizens Bank Ballpark in Philadelphia. The Phillies and the Orioles wrapping up their 3-game series. Philly trying to win the series. They were tied with Baltimore at 4-4 in the 7th, but then they were no longer tied. The call from Sports Radio 94 WIP.
0-2, hit well, right field. This one definitely has a chance. Santander at the wall, it's gone. Edmundo Sosa with an opposite field home run that unties the game here in the bottom of the 7th inning. His 7th of the year, and the Phillies are back in front 5-4.
Number 3.
Chris, the Blue Jays finished up their series in Los Angeles against the Dodgers, and oh my goodness, what a shellacking Toronto put on Los Angeles. The call from Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
So now he's today 0 for 1 with an RBI. 0-2 pitch is cranked to left field. Taylor going back, a 3-run home run for Whit Merrifield. 5-0 Blue Jays on Merrifield's 7th blast of the year.
Number 2.
Chris, the Red Sox somehow playing way above their heads this season, finishing up a brave 2-game stint at Fenway with the Atlanta Braves, the best team in baseball. Braves are up 3-0, and then it's 3-1, then it's 3-2 with Justin Turner at the plate and 2 aboard for Will Fleming in the 7th inning on Sports Radio 93.7 FM WEEI.
Pitch. Swinging a high fly ball into left field, back at the track, at the wall, high off the wall, and the Red Sox are going to take the lead. Turner into second base, standing, he catches some green, and it's 4-3 Boston.
Number 1.
And Chris, we close it out with the Astros and the Rangers. Houston gets Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez off the IL. That worked out well for the bottom of the 1st inning. Houston scores 3. And then the rest of the night belonged to the Rangers, including this one swing of the bat by Adolis Garcia from Matt Hicks on 105.3, the Fan of the 5th. And after this one, things got interesting.
The 1-1 pitch. Swinging a high drive, deep left field, sailing way out of here, onto the glass. Adolis Garcia, touch them all. Grand slam for Adolis, and the Rangers now lead it 13-3.
Well, great moments from Wednesday's slate. More to come as we dive into the schedule ahead today. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio, and the app. Well, quarterbacks are getting paid. Linemen are getting paid. Let's not forget about hoops. Jaylen Brown is in Boston for the foreseeable future. He inked a Supermax, 5 years, $304 million, and he puts to bed any of the noise that he's not happy in Boston. There's Brown on his plans for the community.
I want to launch a project to bring Black Wall Street here to Boston. I want to attack the wealth disparity here. I think there's analytics that supports that, stimulating the wealth gap could actually be something that could be betterment for the entire economy. With the biggest financial deal in NBA history, it makes sense to talk about 1 year investment in community, but 2, also, the wealth disparity here that nobody wants to talk about. It's top 5 in the U.S. It's something that we can all improve on. It's unsettling. And I think through my platform, through influential partners, through selected leaders, government officials, a lot who are in this room, that we can come together and create new jobs, new resources, new businesses, new ideas that could, highlight minorities, but also stimulate the economy and the wealth gap at the same time.
The Celtics have a couple young stars to build around. Lots to be excited about in Boston with Brown and Tatum tandem for years to come. Well, we have reached the finish line on our show. Thanks for staying up all night with us. Up next, it's ESPN Radio with Freddie Coleman and Jay Williams. ESPN NFL reporter Diana Rossini joins the show at 7:30 Eastern. I'm Chris Sylvester. You've been listening to SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio.
Yo, it's Jay Williams. Coming up on Thursday. Is there a world where Kirk Cousins and Tua are top 10 QBs? I'll tell you who thinks they are. Don't miss it. 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN app, and ESPNU.
I was worried about going to business school because I work full-time. They said I would have to get a new job to fit around my schooling. But then I found WGU. Not only was I able to work full-time while I earned my business degree, but I was able to actually graduate faster and spend less. Thanks to their competency-based learning model, I could take as many courses as I wanted as long as I could display mastery of the subject for one low price per term. To learn more about how WGU can be a flexible option for you, visit wgu.edu.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council. To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour, the biographer of atomic scientist Robert Oppenheimer, the subject of Christopher Nolan's new film.
He feared that if the war ended without the use of this weapon, the next war was going to be fought by 2 nuclear-armed adversaries, and it would be Armageddon.
Oppenheimer's biographer Kai Bird, next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour. Listen to this episode of the New Yorker Radio Hour on TuneIn today. Next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour, the biographer of atomic scientist Robert Oppenheimer, the subject of Christopher Nolan's new film.
He feared that if the war ended without the use of this weapon, the next war was going to be fought by 2 nuclear-armed adversaries, and it would be Armageddon.
Oppenheimer's biographer Kai Bird, next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour. Listen to this episode of the New Yorker Radio Hour on TuneIn today.
Your one-stop shop for baseball.
And a curveball smacked into left center field.
Football.
Galloping down the sidelines. Touchdown.
Hockey.
Chance here on the break-in. Kuznetsov fires. Scores.
Basketball.
Randall. Step back 3.
Soccer.
It's Messi. Clear across the line.
And all your favorite sports. Oh, and we can't forget sports talk. We are TuneIn Radio.
When it comes to breaking news, we're your window to the world.
When China sees the Navy, for example,
we're very happy to see some breathing room for American health.
We've got you covered with CNN, Fox News Radio, MSNBC.
Shohei Ohtani not going anywhere. The Angels and pulling Ohtani off the trade market.
To trade this guy with 2 months left before his free agency, I think ultimately deciding not to do so, I think it was probably a combination of the team having won 6 of its last 7 games, still being in contention. I think it's also maybe not being very impressed by what they would have potentially gotten back for him. But I think ultimately it's the fact that they want to make the playoffs this year.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Indeed. Welcome to the Thursday edition of ESPN Radio. This morning, you got my man, Jay Williams. I'm Freddie Coleman, together on the ESPN app. Sirius XM Channel 80. Don't forget about us on ESPNU, presented by Progressive Insurance. And I have some bad news for everybody. Before we talk about what's going on in the night of sports last night. Yeah, Jay's a little up-tempo now, But coming into the show this morning, he was feeling a little peaked.
No bueno.
Jay came in.
Wait,
good morning, Jay.
Wait, ¿Qué pasa, papi? Nunito.
There you go. See,
Buenas.
That's what he did not sound like when he walked into the building this morning.
That's what's up to my guy.
That's right. Nuno da producer.
Yes.
Nuno da producer. The mighty producer. See, Nuno's always energized.
Is he? Because I saw your video this morning. He didn't seem energetic.
He's always energetic.
I saw your pre-show.
He's always,
content that you're delivering morning by morning, where I see Nunito play host.
Yeah, we always want to do that.
It's actually the favorite part of my drive into work. I'm like, what is Nunito going to tell me that I'm talking about today? Let's look at this rundown live.
Yeah, exactly. Nuno wants to be big in the community, and that's his way to be bigger in the community. No one's hating on that one, but you're feeling a little bit less peaked because Jay Will, like yours truly, Freddie Coleman, and also Nuno, our producer, we were up pretty late last night watching U.S. women's soccer having a 1-1 tie with the Netherlands.
Yeah, we played better in the second half. First off, my wife Nikki is a bona fide footballer. She is like, it's funny. She's super passionate about it. She just yells random beep at the screen, like all the time.
Hold on a second. That woman that I met last year.
Oh yeah,
when you
that's
guys
her.
in the 2-on-2,
passionate, fiery.
Really?
Yeah, like kind of crazy. Like and it's funny, like just listen to her commentary. I'm like, I need to find a way to put you on TV instead of the people I see on Fox because it would make it way more entertaining.
Wow.
Please.
Wow.
But like Roosevelt got it done. Like when Roosevelt is in the game, I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
We actually, it feels like we are a better team.
She's
and
their
our
fire
touches
starter.
are better.
Yep.
And obviously that corner. And then obviously you got, Haran when she got the header towards the near post.
Sensational shot, by the way.
But like we came out in the first half and it's like, it's like the way I saw us in the first game. I'm like, we're not that good.
Well, I think
we're not that good. And there's time, obviously, but it doesn't feel like we're the elite of the elite like the other teams in the past have been.
I hear what you're saying, and it's a fair point. But when you have a youth movement that's going on,
Understood.
you got Trinity Rodman.
I'm all about
Sonia
Trinity
Smith.
Rodman.
Yeah, well, Sonia Smith as well, making plays all over the place.
Sophia Smith, yeah.
Lavelle is definitely their fire starter, and Haran's their leader. And you saw when she got her back up, everybody followed her lead. So I hear what you're saying because we're used to seeing in the past with Rapinoe, Carly Lloyd, all those monstresses of the Midway.
I go way back.
You go back to Mia Hamm and all them?
Mia Hamm.
Julie
but also,
Foudy.
I lived with Abby Wambach on Hermosa Beach.
All right.
Like some of the stories I have about Abby are
Really?
like Abby is the assassin of all assassins.
Really?
Like, and I see her now with her wife. Now I love that. I just love who she is as a person. But Abby used to be the best to go out to bars with in Hermosa Beach. And
Oh,
kick it.
really?
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Oh, I'm like Abby 2, J Will 0.
Okay, so is there a story that you want to share that you can't share?
No,
Good,
I
I'm
just
glad.
love Abby.
You just
It's
love Abby? All right.
I love Abby.
Okay.
And so then I was going through that, and then obviously this morning we were talking a lot about I feel like I'm being recruited by people that are not in the group in Westport, the city that I live in.
Excuse
me?
me?
The Black Fathers group.
There's a
that
BFG?
haven't been recruited. Yeah. I haven't been recruited by the group yet, but I feel like I've been recruited by everybody that doesn't look like they belong in the group.
Well, I know for those who don't know Westport, Connecticut, and just Google it, you may say the Black Fathers group is right here.
Yeah. I mean,
Here
there's
he
not a
is.
lot of us, right? But like when you're being recruited by like older white ladies, I'm like, how do you know about the group and the leadership of the group? And I don't.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Wait, this is the Black Fathers. How do you know about it?
Stop.
And
Hold on a
I
second.
don't know about it.
Wait a minute. The recruiting is happening and not from somebody.
Like random like Starbucks drive-thrus. They're like, yo, Jay, you part of the group? I'm like, you're 13. You're 13. How do you know about the group? And you got on Crocs. Nothing wrong with Crocs. I like Crocs. I get it.
Well, Crocs, that's the footwear, the official footwear of Westport. I'm surprised Crocs would not. If I saw somebody not in Crocs in Westport, I'd say you must not live here.
Yeah, it's fine.
You're not from here.
It's fine. And so, I feel a little bit slighted. And then I'm like, oh, imagine when I tell this story today. Some people are like, oh, you belong in the Black Fathers group, Jay. I'm sure we're going to get some of those callers. I'm like, well.
I think you should have been a first-round pick already.
I feel like I should have been at least the second pick.
Exactly.
At least the second pick.
Come on. What kind of lottery drawing is going on?
I don't know
with
what's
the BFG
going on.
in Westport.
So in between that and I watched The Blackening yesterday. Shout out to my girl, Tracy Oliver. I've known Tracy Oliver for a while now.
Okay.
She's a writer, producer, director. She co-wrote Girls Trip. You seen Girls Trip?
Hundreds of
times.
times.
Went to school with Issa Rae at Stanford. So good. Came out this movie called The Blackening, which is great.
Yeah.
like all these guys, like, you know, a whole bunch of black friends going to the woods on Juneteenth, which is just
which will never end well.
It's such an oxymoron because I don't rock with the woods like that. First off, I don't feel comfortable.
No, the woods are undefeated
on Juneteenth. Why? Just think about that.
That's the plot. That's the plot device.
It's the blackening. It's So I watched that. So it was just one of those type of days yesterday.
You remind me of.
And then we got Everybody Hates Chris here in the studio with us this morning.
What are you talking about?
Javante. That's the first thing I thought. Everybody hates Chris.
Why would you think
Everybody hates Chris? That is a new one.
That's a new
one to my list.
Looks a little bit like Tyler Williams.
Yeah. I can see it a little bit now.
Everybody hates Chris.
Yeah, I can see it a little bit now.
Give him a single shot.
Yeah.
Put this man on TV right now.
I can see it now.
Alan Yates is
he's
going to DC.
One to my list. I'll have to add. I didn't heard a lot of them.
Yeah, because he doesn't like Tyler James Williams now, the one that plays on Abbott Elementary. But back then, everybody hates Chris. I see. Everybody hates Chris. Yeah, I see.
Alan Yates is, he's off in Chocolate City, DC, getting ready for the Drake concert, and and now we got our guy Javante.
Yeah, we got Javante, aka everybody hates Chris in the building. We got Alan Yates on his lust for trust when it comes to another Drake concert this weekend down in Washington D.C. I'm a fan of people. By the way, Jay Williams, Freddie Coleman, thanks for joining us this morning on ESPN Radio and ESPNU. I'm a fan of people. That's different with his lust for trust when it comes to Drake.
Can we please not get into Alan Yates' personal bag here?
I'm not getting his personal bag. We know who he is. We know.
Of the country. But what I'm saying is you write off Alabama at your own peril. I am most certainly not going to do that with you.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Plus, you can watch and listen on the ESPN app.
Friday. Welcome to the Haunted Mansion.
You ready to have your mind blown?
We have 999 happy haunts, but there's room for more.
We should be trapped here for eternity.
There's no turning back now.
Madam Yoda, we need your help.
I can show you, but it will cost you $3.
What? Highway robbery.
Who said that?
Disney's Haunted Mansion. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. Only in theaters Friday. Get tickets now.
How are you? My name is Scott Van Pelt, host of SV Pod, along with my partner in crime, Stanford Steve. What do we talk about mostly on the podcast, Steve?
Sports.
Some.
Parenting.
I feel like that comes up a lot. I feel like most recently I've needed some help because I feel like my shortcomings there are evident. It's life stuff, relatable content.
It's fun.
It's just two bald-headed goons just talking about nonsense a lot in a crowded podcast space. There's that one.
We're here.
Here we are.
The hunt for October continues on ESPN Radio.
Another home run for Baltimore here in the inning.
While the Baltimore Orioles have fought their way to the top of the AL East, the Yankees are right in the thick of the wild card race, and they go head-to-head in Baltimore this weekend.
Go to the plate, and he's out at home.
The Yankees and Orioles. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on your smart speaker.
Yeah, bring me back, baby.
Look at that. Take you back in the day, huh?
Who's the black sheep?
Get it? Dress of the black sheep will never, ever get old to me.
Can I tell you the most disappointing part of the last 2 minutes during the break?
What's that?
Is that while Nunito was bringing up pictures on our screen of the Black Fathers group in Westport,
the BFG.
I saw my friend Chad. Yes, my friend Chad.
So your friend Chad is there?
Who was part of the group.
So your
I've
friend
known
Chad
Chad
is there.
for 3 years. Chad didn't text me, didn't say anything at all.
Wow.
I don't understand.
He ghosted you out of a group.
He didn't.
He really did.
I got a lot of stuff to figure out after the show today.
You got his number, right?
Oh, you trust and believe. I sent his ass a text. 6:13 a.m.
Really?
Saying what the is going on, Chad?
He's gonna wake up to that text. His phone's gonna melt.
CHAD in all caps. Chad.
Man, not too many brothers named Chad. By the way,
that's
another reason why you should be in the BFG in Westport. Seriously,
my name's Jay.
No,
my
I'm just saying.
More brotherly like
no, just saying. If there's a brother named Chad in the BFG, then there should be a brother named Jay in the BFG in Westport. Seriously, what are we doing here?
Leave Chad alone.
Hey, leave Chad alone. You texted him at 6:13.
I just put his name in caps. That's all I said.
I got to leave Chad alone, but he's the one that put his name in caps saying, you know, what to believe. But I'm the problem. Jay Williams, Freddie Coleman here on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Don't forget about us on TuneIn and at ESPNU. Now, Jay's not worried about being relevant to BFG. That day's going to happen. But Nuno, our producer, brought this up, and I thought it was a great question we saw last night preparing for the show and even this morning. In terms of baseball, basketball, and football, we know plenty of franchises get all the love they can handle. Mm-hmm. Dallas Cowboys, New York Yankees, New York Knicks, Los Angeles Dodgers, Chicago Bulls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But out of those three, those big three, baseball, basketball, and football, in your mind, what is the least relevant franchise?
You can't flip it on me because I literally said, I know what mine is, but you told me that yours is in basketball.
I got one.
Yeah. I find it hard to believe that a franchise in where basketball and football are.
Right. I got one.
NFL, which is America's sport.
Yep.
We lead our show daily with football.
Right.
Like the most irrelevant teams that you think are irrelevant are not because of the volume in which we talk about football.
But I got one in the NBA.
Tell me.
And Jay said, you know, I'm going to 100% disagree with you. And I pulled my Jim Carrey movie, the Batman movies. Disagree with me, you say. Oh, I'm counting on it that you'll disagree with me. But it's the Orlando Magic. They're the least relevant franchise.
Pablo Bencaro, Rookie of the Year.
Okay, you know him. I know him. Average Joe and Josephine does not know him. Orlando has not been relevant since Shaquille O'Neal got them to the NBA Finals in the 90s.
Okay.
In terms of relevancy.
I mean, Dwight Howard, he didn't make them relevant?
He didn't.
What?
Got them to the NBA Finals, lost in 5
to the Los Angeles Lakers. Finals. Dwight Howard.
They weren't relevant enough.
Do you know the name Dwight Howard?
I know the name Dwight Howard.
Yeah, Dwight Howard, who's playing overseas right now, like he's trying to come back and play.
Yeah, Jameer Nelson.
He was a superstar in that team.
Turkoglu. I get it. I understand it.
Superstar in that team. What do you mean? So that
didn't make them relevant enough. They haven't been relevant.
Well, how relevant do you need to be?
Well, you got to be on people's mind and top of mind
Hornets like just went. Michael Jordan is their team owner. LaMelo Ball. Well, they're not relevant, but they have an owner who's relevant.
They have an owner who's relevant. No doubt about it.
Dwight Howard wasn't relevant when he was playing.
Not like that.
Stop it.
Not like that.
Stop it.
Not like
you mean Superman cape in the dunk contest? Flying over people wasn't relevant.
Not along the lines of Shaquille O'Neal.
I didn't say it was to those heights. I didn't say it was to those heights.
That's my level.
Super relevancy, though. That's like Kobe and Shaq relevancy.
Jay Williams on Planet Freddy. That relevancy matters, and that relevancy is not there. The Orlando Magic that has not been seen since those guys got the NBA Finals and lost in 4 games to the Houston Rockets in the 90s. They haven't been that relevant a franchise since, despite Dwight Howard.
Okay. So I still find it, I completely disagree with you. And I
knew you would.
I think you're swimming hard on this one. You're swimming hard. You're stretching on this.
I'm swimming like Katie Ledecky. I'm swimming pretty free.
I don't know if you're swimming like Katie Ledecky.
I'm swimming pretty free.
No.
There's nobody in the water but me.
No, there's nobody in the water looking at you like we're lapping you, looking at you like, are you sure you want to be in that lane?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I got mine because I don't think that I don't think the most irrelevant team is applicable to either the NBA or the NFL. I think both those leagues have been able to maximize not only their linear footprint, like via TV, but also their social footprint and the way they've been able to build around the way younger people consume media these days.
I'm listening.
Look at the NFL, look at the NBA on their social platforms and their currency. I say digital currency a lot, right?
Digital footprint.
High digital footprints for those two. The lowest digital footprint is the MLB. Right, we talk about them being more of a local sport. So I go to it, and I like Andrew McCutchen a lot, but I go through the Pittsburgh Pirates. Like I go to the last time that they actually were in a playoff was 2015, and like you take me through the last time, like we've talked about the Pittsburgh Pirates, like as a team that's been relevant.
The Orlando Magic
and just give it to the MLB. When have they been relevant within Major League Baseball?
When you think about the Pittsburgh Pirates, they had those teams in the early 90s, the late 80s, early 90s with Bobby Bonilla, Barry Bonds before he decided to leave to go to San Francisco, Andy Van Slyke. They had some dudes, but they could never break through and win. And then all of a sudden they got cheap on everybody in Pittsburgh, not paying players.
I mean, Matt Scherzer's making $43 million this season. That's nearly as much as the roster for the Pirates. Think about it. It's nearly as much as the roster for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's not like the Tampa Bay Rays, right? Who have had high level of success and haven't been going through ownership problems as well, by the way.
I don't think that would have mattered.
That's a news story for another day.
Yes, that wouldn't have mattered. But
like still like Matt Scherzer making $43 million in one season is almost the same amount of money that the roster is making for the Pirates.
Yeah, and it's completely fair when it comes to the Pittsburgh Pirates, especially they have maybe the best baseball park in Major League Baseball. I've seen games there. That park is unbelievably fantastic. How does it see games there? But if you don't put the kind of product out there in a town that wants to embrace that, they will not come out. Mike in Alabama wants to weigh in on this of baseball, basketball, and football. Who is the least relevant franchise? Mike, thanks for joining us at 888-729-3776 on ESPN Radio this morning.
Hey, I appreciate y'all. I watch y'all every morning. You beat me to it. You beat me to it on the Orlando Magic, man. But I was saying baseball. How about the Colorado Rockies?
That's a good one.
And also want to say, I'm glad y'all started talking about baseball, man. I was like, when they gonna start talking about baseball?
Me too.
It's a lot of things going on in baseball. That fella out there in Cincinnati.
Yep.
I know we talk about
Ellie De La Cruz in Cincinnati. Yeah, absolutely. That's a bad boy right there. No question.
I mean, Cincinnati was that until Ellie De La Cruz, right?
Yeah. I mean, they were winning this year. Here's the deal. When you mentioned about Major League Baseball, Mike in Alabama, thanks for the phone call.
See, like, when y'all start talking about baseball, it's like, ooh.
But if we're going to talk about baseball, we got to make sure that it's something that
high
people,
level.
No question about it. The days are long gone where you can just break down baseball teams and what they're doing. You got to have that scratch to your name. For example, the Baltimore Orioles are a fantastic story. The average Joe and Josephine can't name one player in the Baltimore Orioles. Hardcore baseball fans. And baseball is the first sport that I ever loved. I was a baseball fan from the beginning based on my dad taking me to games, playing catch me in the backyard. I always treasure those moments when it comes to that. So I hate the fact that baseball is where it is now. But baseball has nobody to blame but themselves for relevancy compared to Major League, to the NFL, to also the NBA. And at times, even the NHL has rated better than a Major League Baseball game.
How about Kevin, Florida, real quick? Kevin, Florida, you there?
Hey, yes, sir.
What you got?
I got Oakland Athletics, AL West, 2876 record.
That's a good one.
See,
that's another good one.
Calling in with MLB teams.
That's a good one.
That one is off because aren't the fact that they're probably moving or they're trying to move.
They're moving to Las Vegas.
Oh, they're moving to Las Vegas.
Here's the team, and I know we got to go break. That I thought about NBA wise.
Yeah.
The Indiana Pacers. I know, Jay, that's your wife's family's from Indiana, but like that feels like an extremely irrelevant team.
Some people may still think Reggie Miller plays for them. Oops.
Yeah, and nobody knows who Bruce Brown is, even though like he got a bag to go there for 2 years from Denver. But
that's another good one. Keep weighing in at 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776, and on Twitter at Real J Williams and at Coleman ESPN. Out of baseball, basketball, and football, what is the least relevant franchise and why? 888-729-3776. And we'll continue 2 days with a team that is not irrelevant in the National Football League, but they're trying to get back to the status when it comes to the Saints that they're used to without Sean Payton and a new quarterback. We'll get to the rhythm of the Saints after Jay has this from O'Reilly.
The Brick Best brand family is growing at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Try to say that 5 times fast, Freddie. Their new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for best domestic brake pads and rotors with vehicle-specific friction formulations, quiet tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware for those who demand the best when choosing their brake parts. Brake Best Select Pro, professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Nailed it.
Camp to camp, every rep, team to team.
It's on this field where fortunes are made or lost.
Continuing coverage. The countdown to kickoff rolls on. 42 days until the NFL season begins.
Yeah, I like football season, all the things that go with it.
The NFL lives here. ESPN Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Garth Brooks coming in hot with big news. We just launched the Big 615 only on TuneIn. We'll be featuring the biggest artists and the biggest songs presented by the biggest personalities in country radio. And it's all commercial free. Did I tell you how big this is? I cannot wait for you to hear it. Search the Big 615 on TuneIn to start listening, or just tell your device to play the Big 615 on TuneIn. I sure hope you enjoy.
All the hits.
Your country music playlist.
More music, more fun.
Only the classic hits.
Radio has the power to transport you around the world. And now we've got a new way to discover new stations. Say hello to TuneIn Explorer, our map-based view that shows you where your favorite stations and podcasts broadcast from local faves to far-flung gems. It's the new way to blaze your own trail in listening. Ready to set out? Just click on the radio tab to plot your own course.
When it comes to breaking news, we're your window to the world.
When China sees the Navy, for example,
we're very happy to see some breathing room for American health.
We've got you covered with CNN, Fox News Radio, MSNBC, and more. When information is power, choose your source wisely. We've got it all here on TuneIn.
All they want are the tools to defend themselves. They've already shown.
Time and time again, our focus was to seek the truth and to make sure that there's accountability.
Multiple shots.
Search news to listen.
Summertime is here. Yay, summertime. Don't forget to take TuneIn Premium along for the ride. Want to catch up on the latest top headlines? Stay informed with commercial-free CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News Radio. And keep everyone in the car, on the boat, or on the beach happy with ad-free music and less ads everywhere else.
Hey, this is Dua Lipa.
Search Premium to upgrade today.
Instead of fly ball to left back, onto the track.
Hey, baseball fans, this is Buster Olney of the Baseball Tonight podcast. The MLB season is now playing on TuneIn Premium, featuring live home calls of every Major League Baseball team. Only TuneIn Premium gives you access to blackout-free coverage at home or on the road, from walk-off home runs to no-hitters.
He's done expo throws! The 8th no-hitter in history!
All the way through the World Series. Search MLB to start listening.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
I'm World Cup champion Megan Klingenberg. Wondering who you should root for at the FIFA Women's World Cup? I'm hosting a new podcast, My New Favorite Futbolista, where I will introduce you to soccer's brightest stars and the causes they are championing. From the 22-year-old American phenom speaking out about student-athlete mental health,
I try to just approach everything with you don't know what someone's going through,
to the U.S. defender who travels to tournaments with her young son.
Am I ever going to be able to run for 5 minutes straight?
Listen to My New Favorite Futbolista.
Did you know you can use AirPlay and Chromecast to listen on connected devices? Tap on the device icon from the Now Playing screen on the TuneIn app and listen to all your favorite stations like Today's Hits, Latin Hits, Country Roads, and more.
I smell sexy,
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Sports Center.
And that's a base hit.
And that's because they were trying to pick off the runner at second, and Mendick was out of place. Volpe goes to second, scoring is Bader, and it's 3-1 Yanks.
Michael K. with the call on the YESYES network as Carlos Rodon earned his first victory in 4 starts with his new team. The New York Yankees got offensive support from Harrison Bader. They beat the New York Mets in the second game of the Subway Series 3-1. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Angels have pulled Shohei Ohtani off the market. That's what sources told ESPN's Buster Olney, confirming a Sports Illustrated report. The Angels are 4 games back in the final wildcard spot in the American League. And Lindsey Horan had a goal in the 62nd minute that helped the United States squeeze out a 1-1 draw with the Netherlands at the Women's World Cup. But with that draw, neither team has secured a spot in the knockout stage with one group match remaining. SportsCenter is brought to you by eBay Motors. A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible teams apply. Exclusions only.
Hey, let's go do our job, man.
NFL Nation Two-A-Days on ESPN Radio. The New Orleans Saints.
158.
This is Catherine Terrell covering the Saints. The focus will be on wide receiver Michael Thomas for the 3rd straight training camp. Ankle and toe injuries have limited Thomas to only 10 regular season games since the 2020 season opener. Getting the 2019 Offensive Player of the Year back to full health would be a huge boost to the Saints. While Thomas hasn't officially practiced yet this year, it's been all positive progress off the field as he and new quarterback Derek Carr have already hit it off. The Saints and second-year head coach Dennis Allen are counting on this tandem to turn their hopes around after they finished 22nd in scoring offense last year and missed the playoffs for the 2nd straight season.
Countdown to kickoff with NFL Nation Two-A-Days on ESPN Radio.
Saints fans are tired of saying, when it comes to their football team. They want their Saints to be the kind of Saints they're used to seeing. Jay Williams, Freddie Coleman together this morning on ESPN Radio as well as the ESPN app. Sirius XM Channel 80. Don't forget about us on ESPNU and tell your smart speaker to play ESPN Radio. That's the biggest question to me. That's what's on Michael Thomas. I'll wait and take a wait-and-see approach with the guy who has the Twitter handle Can't Guard Mike. Derek Carr, we talk about Aaron Rodgers being motivated to show his former team what's what with the next, moving on from the X. You know that Derek Carr wants to do the exact same thing when it comes to the Raiders saying, we're good without you. And Derek Carr's in New Orleans going, we'll see.